Jefferson County is considered the most liberal county in the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Yes.
However, for the 2022 elections, the tides are changing. People are coming to terms with the fact that conservatism is the backbone of the American culture and the American society. For that reason, we have gathered today a group of conservatives, young and veterans and experts in conservatism, to ask the hard and tough questions that is in the heart, laid down deep in the hearts of every conservative man, woman, and child in this country. The rest of our guests will be coming sooner or later. But anyways, we are intending to have a good conversation this afternoon.
Right.
In order of seniority, we have here the veteran, Mr. Corbin Sievers. Welcome, Mr. Sievers. That's a real treasure for our conservative movement in Jefferson County. All an expert, somebody who have really feel the brunt of being a conservative in a completely liberal society. And also a young lady, also as a young conservative with her questions. They are going to be our moderators. They are going to be asking the tough questions as our customers, as the rest of our guests comes. And if nobody comes, then I will have to take the brunt of all of that.
All
This
right.
is a conservative talks in Jefferson County. Just get yourself together and get yourself ready for a treat tonight. Well, go ahead. Then we're ready for the questions, and that's your privilege, Mr. Corby. Just we can start.
All right. Great. Fantastic. Look, this is, I've never done this type of platform before. So I'm very a little nervous. It's really new to me. At the same time, I'm really excited because this new technology gives us that opportunity to get our voices into the public arena. It gives us the opportunity to give our perspective into the public arena. Because really, if you like, just look at the whole example with Twitter and Elon Musk, how the white left, those people flipped out. You think somebody walked in their door and said, "Hey, give me all your money" or something? They flipped out because they, first of all, they do not support free speech.
Yes.
They objectively do not support free speech.
Absolutely.
But why are we surprised at that? We shouldn't be surprised at that because in all these left-wing regimes, all these socialist regimes, communist, totalitarian regimes, what's one of the first rights they suppress? That's free speech.
Yes.
First one they suppress. So why are we surprised when they do it here in the United States?
Yes.
And then secondly, we really this type of forum is extremely important.
Yes.
Because not only just the issue of free speech, but diversity of thought, diversity of ideas. I'm all for diversity, but when they talk about diversity, they talk about, well, this person over here who's a vegan, homosexual, this person over here who's black, and he's got 3 eyeballs and all that other kind of stuff. But they're not talking about diversity of thought and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
They're not talking about that. And that's why one of the first things they have to do is suppress the expression, suppress freedom of speech, so that they don't hear from my sister like right here. So let me get off my soapbox and let me start asking some serious questions.
Okay.
But and hopefully this will be recorded, and then as a recording, it will go out to some places because when you said in the beginning there, Jefferson County is considered one of the most, if not the most, liberal counties in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, you're absolutely correct. This is like a linchpin county. We've got to break the liberal socialist mentality that just has a tremendous grip on Jefferson County. Because if we're able to do that, then the Commonwealth of Kentucky is significantly going to move towards a freer society, a freer commonwealth, a more prosperous commonwealth. So this discussion right here, these questions we're going to raise with my sister right here, is very important because it's part of that struggle, man. We gotta do this. We gotta do battle here, and we're here in the belly of the beast. We got to do battle here. So let me just start off right offhand. My sister, it says
Let
here.
me ask one of the, because we are having one of our guests coming in, Kim Rhodes.
Okay.
You need to put yourself on camera and unmute yourself. But I have you here. You can enter anytime you want. I don't know if you can hear me, but you are already on the studio. You can get yourself you can, if you get your camera, just let me know. I will just let you in. Okay, so go ahead, Carl.
Okay, great. My sister is showing here that you're running for Metro District Council. Could you briefly just sort of describe for us what your district looks like?
Okay.
And what's like one or two major issues you think that's facing that district?
Okay, let me share with you exactly how my district looks like. Just right away. This is one of the advantages of this platform. We can do it right now. There it is. This is District 21.
Okay.
Is this area within the city? It is not homogeneous. It's not like when they do the new divisions of the districts. I would say that they should be more concise and do it a better shape. As you can see, it's kind of like a little bit of shapeless, but it has important points here because it has these areas which are essential, that like the UPS airport, starting right here in this area for Taylor Boulevard, part of Taylor Boulevard. It closes here in the Audubon Park, if you look at it.
Okay.
It touches right here, Parkway Village, Poplar Level Road, touches briefly Poplar Hills, and then it has this long part here, which is at the end of Preston Highway and Outer Loop. Okay. Now, one of the characteristics of this district is that it is essentially very diverse. I like to say that this is the most diverse part of the city. That is the strength of the Hispanic community is right here in District 21, first of all. And second of all, there is something that, well, Corbin, you are the expert in that sense in the city. Let me ask a question. One of the problems my district have is that if you remember in 2020, those tremendous camps of homeless people that used to be right there in downtown.
Yes.
The other day I was commenting that all of a sudden they disappear. I mean, you still can find homeless people downtown.
Yes.
But generally, in all in all, you can't find them. They're not there anymore. I don't know where they went. However, if you go to the exit of Preston Highway and Great Lane, coming out of I-65 South, going Nashville Light, the first exit, you come out from downtown and you go down to Nashville. The first exit is the exit of Preston Highway and Great Lane. Right. We have a homeless camp right there.
Yes.
And this is one of the situations of the district. We have really. I do believe the district must be have a concern regarding the situation that we have a lot of entrepreneurs, Hispanic entrepreneurs, people who want to invest in the community. So that should be, with after 2020 and all those situations, small business owners really suffer. And this is being myself a small business owner as well, is something that District 21 really need. And there is a lot of us very, very useful to the community, small businesses. They are very good. So it's something that is a point of concern. The other point of concern is that, homelessness is related to a, is related to crime.
Yes.
Increases your level of crime. And after all, those are human beings with serious issues and serious problems. So I don't think that was before in District 21, but probably that's going to be one of my responsibilities, trying to figure out a program in District 21 to fight for the situation of homelessness and things like that. Joanne, Shelby, George, everybody, unplug your cameras so I can add you to the stream. There you go. There you go. There you're coming. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Joanne, come on, just get yourself in your camera. Let's go ahead. Okay. Oh, hi, Charlie. So I can add you to the stream there. Everybody's coming. There you are. You're right, George. Don't move it. You're perfectly okay. Let me unmute your microphone. Okay, now you are good. Now I have your microphone. Present yourself, George.
I'm George Kimbrough Jr. I'm working with Chartres Hall, who's running for mayor.
Okay, George. Okay. Shelby, Charlie, get yourself in the camera as soon as you can. Okay. Did I answer your question, Corbin?
Yes. Let me do a little follow up here. I think it's really important that even though our sister's done a great job and she knows her district and she knows the problems within her district, but many times when we go to the polls, we think that this is not connected to the national situation. It is.
Yeah.
This is what she described in her.
You froze.
I have interviewed people in my program, my podcast. I interviewed one brother. He did a great book on homelessness, but his focus was on homelessness in California, namely Los Angeles. And I said, how are you putting this out as a national, as a book for everybody, and yet you're focused on California and LA? He said close to 40 to 45% of the homeless numbers is coming from out of that state and in that given area.
Oh, wow.
He said, man, if we were to take away all the homeless figures out, out of California and the national number would drop.
Oh, wow.
So you see how important it is that even though people in LA, they're facing some very serious issues, but in their focusing on their situation, how to resolve it, it's going to have a positive impact on the nation as a whole.
Oh, wow.
And so what you do right here, what you try to do right here, could very well have a significant impact on the nation as a whole.
Whoa.
And I want you to respond to this. Give me just a minute. I think a lot of times with the homeless homeless problem, of course we need to approach it with some compassion.
Yes.
We're not insensitive, ugly human beings who just want to go out there, oh, you're homeless, let me beat you up or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think, though, with that left-wing perspective, they seem to come out with this attitude of, oh, well, we don't have affordable housing. We have this homeless situation because we don't have enough affordable housing.
I don't think so.
Exactly. And I want you to elaborate. I agree with you. We need to have more conservative perspective as far as, of course, we want to treat folks who are living out in the street with compassion. But there's some other issues that's going on.
Yeah.
That's causing. Go ahead and address that, my sister.
I'll tell you what. I do believe there is a problem, and that's not a simple problem in only one direction. You know what? We don't have the habit to interconnect things and put things together. Tell you what, this is something. I do honestly believe the homelessness issues is directly connected with the drugs problems. I do believe the drugs, the level of the drug situation will have a problem. Which if we start putting the dots together, it will be drugs, it will be infuse this excess of immigration and this excess of fentanyl that is being moving to the country through the border.
Yes.
I do believe that one problem has to be is connected with the other. If you it was already bad, the problem has
Yes.
been aggravated by the pandemic and the current situation at the border, in
Yes.
which the injection of fentanyl within the American society has been so big that
Yes.
now it can be seen even as far away as Kentucky, which technically speaking, so well, we are not in the border, but yes, we
Right.
are, because we are
Yes.
receiving people from the border, and from the border is coming the drug, is coming the fentanyl, is coming the meth. It's something that is really influencing tremendously. So I think that you have to close the pipe, so to speak, to the drug problem, and
Yes.
then also increase the level of participation. It's not only the problem of housing, because I don't believe homeless, because those are not kids that are homeless, and those are adults.
Yes.
These people used to live somewhere,
Right.
and then there's situations, etc. So the situation deteriorates to the point in which they are now unable to be useful to society and to produce and to participate in society, so to speak.
So I hope our listeners are, as our sister said earlier, they're
Mhm.
connecting the dots. Because what she just brought up was about, first of all, she just brought up about border security.
Yeah.
She brought up border security. We have to have solid border security to do what? To stop more, they stop these guys from bringing more dope into our society.
Mhm.
That's getting more of our people addicted.
Yeah.
That's creating this homeless problem. Okay. So
Yeah.
our local issues are connected
Yeah.
to national issues.
Yeah.
They are connected. And it's time that we have to stop allowing, I'm not saying suppress the left wing perspective on it. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying we have to have another perspective in here in the marketplace of ideas, and we compete. We compete. We're competing for the hearts and minds of the voters, and the best way to do that is through a good debate and discussion, and
Yeah.
that's what this forum is doing.
That's what the forum is.
Yeah,
It's a debate and discussion. So, guys, please feel free to just raise your hands, give your opinions. Everybody's gonna present themselves and things like that. But we are talking to Mr. Corbin Sievers, a veteran in the conservative movement in Jefferson County, and he's asking us the hard and tough questions every conservative wants to know about the candidates. And now, Mr. Corbin, this is Mr. Chakra Hall. He's a mayor candidate, and George, of course, works in his school. George, please just don't stay silent. This is a forum. Everybody can get to say something. So please unmute yourself, ask questions, give answers, because you are the younger generation. That's why Lais, which is also a member of my team, is here, because it is a conversation that is not so usual to sit together. Several generations, and we are Cubans. I'm a Cuban. Laicita is Cuban as well. So we have a different perspective, because this is one of the problems. We're coming from different backgrounds, but we are coming from a strong communist background, and we know how it tastes and how it feels, and we don't like it, and that's why we are in the public discourse now, adding our experience.
And so I'll speak to that. I think it's that's one of the things. Me being 34, I'll be 35 this year. But the generation that we need, right? We know that we do everything we do for the generation to come, right? You're responsible for the next 4 generations. Like, everybody hear me?
Yes.
So the 28, I talked about this on the radio shows and other interviews. 28 to 18, that is the workforce that we're missing, because Everything that was given to them, they did not learn to work. They jumped from team to team, place to place. It was handed to them. Now we want them to fall into this system, a broken system at that. But we need this workforce system as well for economics. But they express themselves far differently. They're not able to articulate as we're doing, Corbin or Irina, right? You see, Sister Young nodding her head. They express themselves through art, through music, right? They're very physical, very out, very open, very expressive through nonverbals. And we've been misunderstanding them. We're not listening. They've been misled, misguided, misinformed, but we all have. But how do we get back to the structure, this discipline, the conservative ways of understanding you can't do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want? There is order. That's why my platform of restoration of trust, order, and belief, right? There is no trust. I talked about today. There's fear, far too much fear in this city. There's no faith that we talk of. Far too much hate, no love. Who can bridge the gap from youth all the way up to elder? That's the only way. From every race, from every culture, can you find understanding? Or have you been doing the work? Have you been out in the communities? Are you making the proper connections? The innovation is going to take, the creation is going to take, the connections, the communication. That's the biggest piece and issue. We need to clear the table, not bring your own chair or set your own table, as you hear people say. We need to clear the table, remove up. And we need to then say who needs to sit here, who is supposed to be sitting here. We need these individuals, and that's what I'm going to do locally, because I've been talking from your elder down to your youth, talking to your gang leader, to your drug leader. I'm a minister as well, talking to the churches, right? Communicating with former police chiefs, corrections chiefs, officers, right? Community. There are already people who do community policing. When they talk about it, they do it themselves because they know it's our responsibility. It once was a village. But even with all of that, how do we get everybody out of these bubbles and pockets? It's going to take a leader that we've never seen before. That's something we've never done before. Something that seems like, where is this coming from? Completely out of left field. No, right field. Right? And being able to bridge this divide. But we are the bridge. And so I know it's like, what's the platform? What's the plan? What's the policies? These things can all be changed and altered with proper leadership when you bring those to the table with their expertise. Brother Corbin, you do chess. You teach chess. The strategist game, you teach chess. I remember we first met. Everyone needs to know how to play chess because that's exactly what we're playing. My father taught me at 12. Been playing ever since. So it's these pieces of knowing who does what, who's where, and how they tie in together to truly be able to set our city straight.
Let me throw some things. One subject out there that you've the brothers just touched upon, and that is public safety and public trust. And what I specifically mean is there's a tremendous amount of violence going on out there.
Yes, it is.
From what I'm hearing, what I've been told, a lot of our Black youth are victims of that violence, perpetrators and victims of that violence. Right here where I live, literally across the street, young Black man he got in an argument with somebody, and they literally had like a shootout, and it was in the middle of the day, and he just died out there, dead out there. So what are some things that as mayor do you think there's some things that you can do, and if so, what? And then also some people claim that there's an issue of lack of public trust, i.e. the public not trusting the police officers. I personally haven't experienced that.
Right.
Because when I know police officers, and what they have said to me is that the more of the so-called activist community, they are attacking them, etc. He said, but the person who's, hey, my son just got shot here, They don't have a problem in working with the police. They don't have a problem when the police show up. So can you guys, the both of you, sort of touch upon that a little bit and deal with that a little bit? Because, you know, that's public trust, public safety. Those are important issues. Can't have a whole lot of shootings going on. That's not going to help our small businesses who are a major provider of employment and tax revenue. That's not going to help just some average Joe who's just walking down the street with his daughter, and all of a sudden, middle of the night, which happened out here where I live, you know, gunfire is going on. Can you guys touch upon that a little bit? Talk about that a little bit.
Please go ahead.
You want me to go, Irina? You want to talk?
Go ahead.
Okay. I can tell you I'm going to be the only mayor that will actually go into the trap house. The trap house is where the drug dealers do, right? For those that don't know on the show that's listening, this is where the drugs are a lot of times either made and or distributed.
Yes.
Right? I can tell you I'll be the only one that's going to go in there and have the conversation that needs to be had with them to address, first and foremost, affirmative action. I'm not coming to give you a pass. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a conversation. That's first. Also, the gang leaders, because this is not hand in hand in most cases. They're not doing the same, even though they want to be on the game. Some of them are really just not into the drug game, but just protecting their set or repping their set or their hood or their community where they come from, right? This pride that they have. You're not just going to come in here and just do whatever, set up shop, sell whatever, not in here. So now we got to protect ourselves from those outside that want to come in and influence our neighborhood. Right? It's so many different levels and barriers with this that we don't understand, but that's where I come from. Cotta Homes Projects, Iroquois Projects, Victory Park, Shag Bark, with my family, South End, Georgetown Carpenters, friends in Beecher Terrace, Village West. That's on my team. People who started gangs, right? People who are paralyzed, people who went to the penitentiary, that are now ready to be the solution, that need the proper resources, that have programs that's ready to come in because they can save our city and our youth and our streets. They can address the ones they used to run with, the ones that's doing this to the young boys, 15-year-olds with with ARs and AKs, 13-year-olds, right? Heavy artillery, 100-round drums. But what are they doing? This money's coming too fast because everything is just free for all. It's open. And Irina was talking about how there has to be a gate. We don't have any gatekeepers in Louisville. It's a free-for-all. Anybody can do whatever. And we know Louisville has traffic coming everywhere from 65, 71, 64. We're 1 day's drive of 70% of the population. You can move a lot of anything. I live in J-Town. Right here is one of the biggest spots, human trafficking. The pickup on 264 and everything. We don't talk about this. We don't talk about that part of what we're addressing and everything. We're not safe. So it has to be the proper appointment of leadership. I do have some chiefs in mind that I spoke to that I won't name drop, you know, and go there and start putting, no, 5 days from the primary. I'm not doing all that, but I've had conversations of who I would appoint, as well as who's going to be the build out of. So it has to be a structure and key positions as we go through. But it's about community involvement. We have to get in to the fight and address. GVI is another issue, and I'll go to Irina. GVI is another issue. Group violence intervention. This works in other cities. It's not properly funded here. It's not properly staffed. We're not following the protocol. The letters are not going out. There's no follow-ups. They keep trying to have these meetings and sit-downs with the individuals, and they don't show up because of the lack of trust. There are many, Corbin, who want out, because when a hot bullet enters your body, that's when you be like, mama, these young men want out. Charlie Bell may not be on, but we worked at the Goodwill at the spot where she still currently is, 16 to 24-year-olds. All of them in there, almost all of them have been shot. Bullets either still in them, have gone through them on ankle bracelets. They like, Mr. Hall, I'm done. Mr. Hall.
What Goodwill is this again? Say that again. What Goodwill?
The spot on now it's at JCTC on 8th and Chestnut. It's called The Spot. It's for 16 to 24-year-olds to be able to come in. Goodwill is a second chance, right? Not a hand out, but a hand up.
I've been there for several years.
Charlie Bell's running for Metro Council District 1, and she's still there. That's why I met her, because I was running the RISE Facilitator program, which is the last step that you come in where you graduate to be able to go into the workforce. And so we were here doing this, but I said it's too many not coming. There's far more out there, but they don't come here because of the lack of trust. Because when they don't show up, you're penalizing them, but you don't understand that they don't have transportation and they can't get on the TARC because that's one phone call for them catching a bullet. But you're not thinking about this, right? Because when they get out of the life, they don't have anything. What am I supposed to do now? I don't have a degree. I don't have an education. I'm still struggling to read and write because the JCPS system has failed me, and 77% or less not be able to read and write and do math at grade level.
Right.
But we don't want to talk about charter schools and school choice and community schools and church schools, but there has to be some pressure applied somewhere, Corbin. So we have to get in to this fight. If you're not ready to roll up your sleeves and be seen every day and bring energy to be able to motivate, inspire, and empower, a lot of talking can't be done. I'm ready to get to work and bring everybody that we need that's ready. So I'll pass it to Irene so she can go.
This is the part. This is my part. The part of my platform which I'm more passionate about. And if you look at the ticker that is passing beneath it, this website jcpsexposed.com /obscene materials. Let me tell you something, Corbin. Let's go back to what we were talking at the beginning. People don't that. We have not been taught to put the dots, to connect the dots.
That's right.
The problem not only start in the fact that if we're going to talk about the Black family, essentially the structure of the Black family have been obliterated by the socialist system of feeding the family and removing the father, the heads of the family from the home. The fathers are away from home. Mm-hmm. The family that was essentially run and coming together as with the faith-based structure, it has been completely obliterated. There it is. Faith is one of those dots that has been eliminated from the equation, and the consequences are seen. But the other part of that is that, and this is something that I'm so passionate because I don't hear nobody from the Black community, and it's conservatives. We all agree, but I feel like the fight is being driven for parents and families that are not in the Black community. And there is a problem. You cannot prosper if you don't know how to read and write and count. And what is the school teaching obscenities, immoralities to the kids, making the kids to learn what it is? Listen, I don't have no problem with what you do in the privacy and sanctity of your home. That is not my problem. I have my life. I will not run after you asking you what you do in your room. However, I disgrace, I disagree, I'm disgusted that you have teachers in the school with kids that cannot read and write, showing them cartoons with immorality and indecency. You want to destroy a society? The first thing you have to do is to destroy the moral values of the society. Sorry, everybody else. Without Christianity, there is no moral values. We all know that before Christianity, essentially humanity were killing each other without any problem. So we have to come back as a society to the point in which we place the schools in the position they are. And these people we are entrusting with our children, listen, if you cannot stop talking about what you do in your room, get out.
And, again, what the sister has said, that's connected to what this brother just said and what this sister just said. You can have the same type of conversation. LA, Chicago, major urban cities all across the United States. The issue she just brought up about, are you educating our children or are you indoctrinating our children? That's an issue.
It's a national pandemic, Corbin.
Absolutely.
Coronavirus said global pandemic. Well, this is a pandemic. Epidemic, anything you want to call it. This is, yes.
So I'm saying to folks who are listening to us, when you go to that poll, you're just not trying to say, hey, I want the best candidate in such and such a district. I want the best candidate for mayor that, this is going to help the city. But you're also voting really what's good for the nation, what direction you want to see the nation go. Just think if we had this brother right here even if he wasn't elected, but he got pretty close to being elected, oh, you better believe there'll be some national attention to it. You better believe that.
Oh, we're going to apply pressure. It's going to be change.
You got to, and that's from my sister Irina. You know, guys, we got to get in there. I'm so thankful that you're in there. I'm so thankful that you're putting your ideas in there. And I just want to emphasize to you, even if you don't get it, you're making a difference. You're making a difference. You gotta and you gotta toot your horn. You gotta say, hey, we went in there and this is how close we came. Because I tell you, that's going to have an impact on people who said, oh my goodness, wait a minute, maybe there is some hope. Maybe there is some hope here.
Well, see, the key too, Corbin, before you transition, with this collection, right, this remnant, those ready to, Irina and I are not going to stop after this. Like, this isn't just a call we're doing because of the primary.
Right.
She and I are going to do work in this community for the next however long that we have with everything in our being. Yes, this because we just had left the forum downtown. That's why I was running behind. We were downtown at a forum at 4th Street, and a gentleman who was from Ghana, he said, but nobody here talks to the immigrants, but we're here. Our voices aren't heard. I can vote, right? This is what he was saying.
Yeah,
but you act like it's just a black and white. You act like it's just a Louisville. He's like, hey, I'm Louisville too. And that's my biggest message. We're in a huge identity crisis, Corbin. We don't know who we are as a Louisville 2022.
Right.
Agreed.
We keep picking and choosing who Louisville is for this game of control so that we can always be able to have our arms around. No, that's over and done with because the city has already changed. It's not changing. It has already evolved. So we're going to work, and everyone else as well. We're still going to do the work because they're going to call me in, Corbin. And when I show up, oh, you better believe I'm coming with a whole army. So you better get ready. If you inviting Chartrell, I'm not just one.
Amen.
Yeah, we'll take all those seats in whatever room. I'm gonna make sure that she knows, and vice versa, and still be in the community because this has to stop, regardless of who gets into office. This is going to stop.
As a matter of fact, the immigrants, as an immigrant, you know, for the citizens of the United States, it's so natural the things you all do for each other. You know, in spite of the fact that there may be differences in between each other, Americans have a tradition and a culture to helping each other and things like that. But with the immigrant, because we are entirely different, and then like Sita and I are immigrants, then we really need to hand to each other really strong for survival. And we understand how hard it is to survive in America without backup, without the support. One of the things that I really would like us, and guys, as we talk now, we're gonna go to a break to see if I can get Charlie, if I can help Charlie to get in. So, but one of the things that I remember that's a tradition in the Black families everywhere. And we were talking about the young people and the younger generation. I remember that in my family, for the elders to listen to you, you have to deserve to sit down at the table. And for somebody to listen to you, you really have to do something good with your life. One of the problems that the younger generation have is a tremendous sense of entitlement.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes it hard because they have been raised with so much. Listen, Black kids, you have never been poor.
Right. You're right about that.
You don't know, but you have never been poor. Let's go to a break. Let's go to a break and let Lysita, born and raised in Cuba, she came to America 6 or 7 years old. When we come back, we will tell you what poor looks like. And let's see if I can find some picture of me so you can see me the way I look before I came to America. Let's go to a break and let me help Charlie to get in. Give me a second.
All right.
Go, guys, take a break and take some water. And you all guys don't move. This is getting good. I don't know. I like it. I really like it. Let me just get a little bit. we're back. I hope you drink your water and you did everything you had to do. This is getting so good. Okay. Oh, George took a break. Okay, we are back. We are back here in this good conversation. And it's really nice. As I was talking to Chatrell, let's do that more often because this is something that I have never seen done before, and I'm so glad.
Yes, I'm enjoying myself. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
And it's something that is very interesting. Now, like I said, give us something of your experience. Let me try to see if I can find some family pictures. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, hi all. I just want to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Lais. My family never truly uses my real name, so I do go by Laisita. But yes, I had the blessing to be raised here in the United States. I was fortunate enough that my parents did bring me over when I was 6 years old. Amazingly, I still have a good amount of memory of what it was like to live in Cuba. And of course, from the time, unfortunately, the only time that I was able to go back and visit 10 years later to see my family when I was 15 years old. But it is a whole nother different world, people. It is very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
I really am one of those people that, I never say I want to deny anyone's struggle because it's tough out there. It's tough out there. It was tough out there for my generation. I'm 26 years old, and when I was growing up, it was very, very hard. And I think it's gone so much more difficult for this generation. They have to face things that I never really thought that they would have to face. And I pray for these kids because it's crazy what's going on out here. Fear at the bus stops and just lots of things that it's never been seen in the city of Louisville. But I do also understand that you can make it out. It is difficult. I'm not gonna deny a lot of the things that, for example, I know a lot of people that were raised in the West Side, and a lot of, and how difficult it can be sometimes when you are raised in that kind of environment to rise up and be able to climb up out of those situations. It really is very, very tough. But yes, growing up in Cuba was a whole nother different ball game because I think back then, you can't, even if you have an education, it's just it's not enough. I grew up in a family. Thankfully, my dad did business, but my grandma did live on a dirt floor. Our aunties, they didn't. There was not much that. It was just a very humble situation that we had.
There was a lot of hunger.
There was a lot of hunger.
No McDonald's hunger. That's not McDonald's hunger.
There was nothing.
That's not.
Even in education, there was nowhere you could go. There was nowhere you could go. Education is not respected over there. Any business that you trying to have, the government just takes it away from you. So it is a whole nother different level of poverty. You really can starve if most people that live there live off of the money that their family members, if they're lucky enough to have a family member out in any other country, sends over to them.
Mm-hmm.
It changes everything, the only chance that so many of the girls that I know out there have is, if you're not going to cross the border by sea or by somewhere else, you can become a prostitute.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what you can do to survive, to put it that way.
Right.
That's the problem with communism and socialist agendas. The first thing that the communism and socialism feeds off is hopelessness.
Yeah.
So every time you find it, every program, it doesn't matter how much well-intentioned the person has. You can have all the good intentions in the world. People need to take responsibility for their actions. People must. I agree that anybody can fall into drugs. It happens, people.
does. It happens.
But there must be a program for that people to start working and earning a living and getting back to society. Back
Right.
to
Right.
What do you think about that, Corbin?
Sis, yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that, again, as you say, the importance of connecting the dots. We don't have here nationally, we're having a significant movement that keeps saying the problems you have is because of somebody else.
Of the government and
Right. Government, white folks, whatever. Right. Problems you have, it's because of something that happened back in the 19th century.
Yeah.
You can't get ahead. You can't get ahead, even though 70% of all new millionaires in the United States are first generation. They take away, as my sister says, they sort of like what's inherent in their philosophy and their program is that whole thing of, oh, well, I'm a victim. And as a victim, it's someone else has got to do something in order for me to do better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just recently explained to somebody, my daughter's a third generation college graduate in our immediate family. And I also said to them, my grandmother, she never got out of high school, sis. She didn't get as high as 8th grade. And her father, my great grandfather, he was 9 years old, 9 years old when he became a free man. He was emancipated from slavery at 8, 9 years old. But today, well, this past weekend, my daughter walks across. She has a college degree, summa cum laude. Hey, look at that. Look at what we've accomplished as a people.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what our families have accomplished. Okay?
Yep.
You can't talk to me about hopelessness. You can't talk to me about, oh, that person's the problem.
No.
You see? We
I will
can
let you
do better. We can do. And so this is where I found it fascinating what this brother was saying, in that he's going to go in there. He's not going to sit around and lecture about, hey, the white man hold you down. Hey, man, the government's going to lift you up. He's going to go in there and say, hey, man, look, here's what you need to do.
Do it.
Simple and plain.
Right.
It's really that simple. But like I said, it's the fear. To your point of your daughter, congratulations, first and foremost. But it goes back to Irina's point, because the father who's sitting right on this screen, that's how your daughter graduates summa cum laude. That's how your daughter is able to go, because her father's presence, not your present at times, you have a presence in her life. That's currently so many. The book of James tells you, James 1 talks about what the religion is to the Most High, is to take care of widows and orphans.
Yes.
I'm a father to any child that I'm out here with.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a man to any woman, any mother. The respect, the love that has to be there and shown by a man, it has to come from, at this point, to set things right. It just does. We're missing that key piece and component, especially Black men.
Oh, yeah.
That's the part that we're missing. And so it's very important when you say, I'm going to go in, I'm going in because I'm talking to myself. See, when you come from the projects, as I like to say, Sister Young, when you said make it out of Louisville, I went from, my family's from Cotter Homes Projects, which is now Park Duval.
Yeah.
Lived in Shag Bark, lived on 22nd in St. Louis, because my mom and dad, two different sides, right?
Wow.
Victory Park, moved around, Georgetown, Carpenter, Nicholas, Taylor Boulevard, Manslake, Air Course Projects. I say that to say, I went from the projects to Manuel Spalding Bellarmine to Prospect. I made it in my city.
Wow.
I didn't leave Louisville until I went to play professional basketball, where we don't have a professional team, any of that here. So I had to go somewhere else to continue that piece, because if I wasn't going to gang bang or deal drugs, I was going to do what? Play ball. That's the only options. We don't know the endless opportunities of entrepreneurship or even just workforce.
Amen.
Right? You
Amen.
ask a small child, hey, you want to be a phlebotomist? What is that?
Right.
Speaking
Amen.
a foreign language, right? I was so pleased to hear 4 or 5 young women come into Goodwill saying they wanted to be phlebotomists. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. That's something you don't hear, but that's not even an option given, right? Because we think we're pigeonholed. We think based on our own understanding and thoughts or what seems to be that's available. The resources need to be available. The options, we got to stop waiting, right? We need proactive thinking, proactive action, proactive everything, policing, leadership. We have to be proactive at this time, seeing the plays coming. So me going in, I said, it's no fear. Not to say that they won't shoot me, that they won't be upset and angry. Oh, that's my this and that. But when do you go in?
Right.
With the right reinforcements, the right backing, because there are women in the community. One thing I saw when I was a child, and I'll pass the mic. The Crips were trying to recruit me.
Wow.
My mother went up to these gang leaders and told them, you cannot have my son. He's in the Hall gang. I'm like, Mama, I know he just shot at somebody, and I know he probably caught some bodies. You cannot go talk to them like that. Watch me. Because as a woman, a mother protecting her child, she's going to go. And when a woman speaks, because every man comes from a woman.
Amen.
They said, yes, ma'am.
Wow.
That's power.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but
sir.
Now for the disconnect between man and woman, that young man is only going to have respect for mama, but mama can't show that young man how to be a man. It takes a man.
Father.
The father, father, mentor, right?
Amen.
Someone there who cares. There are so many ready to move, Corbin, but like I told him, I can't do anything unless I have power at this point, because we keep trying to send to these places that's not getting the resources. It takes the pen, it takes authority. There's so much that we can do in this position, because I'm not going to be the one holding it. My pride and ego is to the side. I'm focused on betterment. I don't mind passing the basketball because I'm a basketball player. I don't mind passing. It's our people. The people. What do we need? Let's get it done.
Right.
Go ahead, Corbin.
Sis, before I have to leave, I've got to make another phone call.
Yes.
And
let me say something before we leave, because believe it or not, it's 9:48. We have been talking for 1 hour.
Wow.
What about to have an invitation? I want to invite Corbin for the next time, a young pastor from he's around Elizabethtown.
Okay.
This young pastor have a really powerful story that I think the community want to listen to. But I want to make an observation to all of us that are around in this forum. Corbin was saying that his daughter graduated summa cum laude from the university, and then Chatrell said that she graduated because she had her father. Well, tell you what, something that all conservatives have in common. I will be married for 20 years. Lysita and her mom and dad have been married for almost 30 years now. What about you, George? You have not saying anything.
We've been married for 3 years.
3 years?
Yes, the same day Chartrell and his wife got married.
And then Chartrell?
All right.
The same. Like they said, we got married in different places, same time, September 15th. But we are 3 years. My wife and I are 3 years, going on 4 years.
So do you realize that the foundation of prosperity for anybody starts right here?
In the family, yes.
Amen.
Right here.
Amen. Amen.
To respect for the nuclear family, and to understand that we women have a function to the kids, and the father have another function that have to be fulfilled.
Yes. Yes.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I think that this is something that is simple, but simple things, great acorns grow from simple and single things, seeds. I do believe we are planting a seed that is going to make a difference in the community, even though eventually make people feel uncomfortable. We couldn't have Charlie today, but we will have it in the next conversation. So please, we're going to be maybe next week having another time past the primaries, to reflect about what did happen in the primaries, But we will not stop. We will not stop. Let's make ourselves a promise, a public promise, that we will not stop talking about the topic's importance. So this is Conservative Talks in Jefferson County. Thank you for everybody being here.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Everybody keep in touch.
Good night.
We'll keep in touch.
Night.